Raw Mike Richards, weekdays on Newstalk Sauga 960. And now, from the Bell Lifestyle Studio, here's Mike.
It is 8:10. Raw Mike Richards, Newstalk Sauga 960. Here on a Tuesday, and just so you know, every Tuesday is a Ticat Tuesday. That's right, I'll drop my voice like it's NFL films. And as we head to the shores of Lake Ontario, home of the steel makers and the steel breakers, home to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and assistant coach, defensive coordinator, Mark Washington. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. How we doing today?
I'm pumped, my friend. I'm so glad that you're joining us. This is, you should just know I've been a Ticat fan since, I was born. So I've been going to games for a very long time. Love the league. The CFL to me and my family is, it's sacred ground, really is what it is. So my dad has been a long time season ticket holder. In fact, he was taught by Ivor Wynn. He said, son, if you ever want to know when you feel old, it's when they name buildings after one of your professors. So he's been around a long time. My first game was Garney Henley, and my hero as a kid was Chuck Ely. And it's just, I see those colors and I get so excited. So the fact that Newstalk Sauga 960 carries the game here basically in the GTA, so we're sort of lying in the sand, like, what are you talking about? You can't do that. Well, we just did. So we are thrilled, and I'm sure as we have as close to a full season. Now, I know there was, a couple little tap dances we had to do, but we're talking all football now. There's nothing but football talk. You got a game coming up to start off, which is that's just you want to start off with a bang. While you're doing that, you're going right into the heart, the belly of the beast, going into Saskatchewan. It will seem like a playoff game, your first game. So, hey, be prepared or go home, Mark. I'm pretty sure that's what you're getting across to your team.
Yeah, that's exactly that. That's exactly that. We we're preparing ourselves today. Today being essentially our first day, we're preparing ourselves to make sure that the environment that we're facing, it's very similar to here, but just on the opposite spectrum, right? Those fans are rabid. That team, I know, will be well prepared as they take the field. But I mean, that's why we work so hard too. We're going to prepare our men. We're going to get ourselves ready to go out there and perform, and go out there and try to get a win.
So when you're playing a team like the Riders, and you guys have been very good at shutting down the run, it's something that you obviously through your career playing the CFL, you know all about. That's a big field out there, and as you know, also considering being a DB and being that defensive backfield, the rules haven't really been in favor of guys playing that position. I mean, it's a sport now where once the ball is either caught or incomplete, we all do the same thing. You're looking around for flags. You're always looking. It really favors the offense. It favors guys catching the ball. So in technique, I mean, you have to be so detailed on how you do coverage. And, Cody Fajardo, he's looking to return to, the kind of play that kind of made him a star out there. So what are you expecting to see game number one from them as, sort of if we're looking at, run pass options and just the kind of offense they like to do? What are you think that they're going to do?
Well, you mentioned a few there. We know Cody is a quarterback that can challenge you not only with his arm but with his legs also. We understand that they have great receivers, great running back, great run O-line. So, they're going to try to put a lot of stress on us, not only within the passing game, but also they're going to try to run the ball. And then off of that, the run pass options and play action passes and things like that, all those things sort of fall in the line. And so, they're going to try to take advantage of the talent that they have. That's what every coach is trying to do right now. At this point, I mean, it's a team, it's an offense that we're facing that has returned a lot of their players from last year. So what that means is that they'll be in sync, but we've returned a fair number of guys ourselves. So, we're preparing, on two levels that, in every way, we understand that, we gotta control that run game first and foremost. And then from there, try to limit what they do in the past.
What do you think your stamp would be if people are talking about the kinds of words you use for the coverage? Like, for instance, over the years where I've watched Chris Jones, where, it's a lot of risk reward. You're going to see cover zero. You're going to see a real in your face kind of thing. If someone's talking about a Mark Washington defense, what do you think that adjective is? What is it for you? Do you think?
Well, we're going to try to do whatever is going to help us win that game. Whatever style we need to play, whatever coverages we need to do, whatever pressures, whatever we need to do to win that particular game, that's what we're going to do. And so if you say, what kind of defense do you have? Are you a zero guy? Are you a zone guy? Are you this guy? I'm going to try to win whatever it takes that weak guy, and whatever that means, whether it goes, you got to go zero every play, or whether you got to drop 9 every play, it doesn't matter. Whatever is going to help us win that particular weekend, that's what it's all about for us.
Well, I think it's also easier too, as you said, when you can do that when you return guys. Like it's harder when all of a sudden, you've got like 5 new faces like that in the CFL. That's and sometimes that happens. It's real difficult. So in returning, like if you're looking at this defense, who do you think is going to have a big year? Like I know you're looking for all those guys, but sometimes you get a feeling as a coach, you're like, okay, I really want to see what this guy can do.
I'm excited to I'm excited to see a lot of these guys. I'm excited to see Cam Kelly take the next step in his maturation and in his career. I think he can do some special things with his physicality and his body type. I think I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see the big fella in the middle. Our big guys in the middle from Dylan to Micah, Teddy. Everybody, all those big guys, and I'm ready to see all those guys get to work because if you can control that middle, then that sort of permeates the rest of your defense.
Now, for your guys, and when you play the excitement as you did the Grey Cup, which obviously we were all hoping for a different result, but it was one heck of a game. Like it's I don't think there'd probably be anything worse as a competitor leaving the field knowing that you kind of didn't leave it on the field. That there was something else you could have done. I mean, I think they really did just lay it on the line. So what was that feeling? Some people feel like there's a chip on the shoulder, which I don't mind, by the way. I don't mind my guys feeling a little bit angry. So where are they at? They got a little bit of a chip? Are they a little angry?
Well, our guys, we try to keep them angry. You know what I mean? But the goal doesn't change. The result of the previous year has no effect on the goal for this year. The thing about the Grey Cup and any game for that matter, as soon as the game was over, everybody was on the same plane again, in that we were all at level ground, getting ready to ascend the mountain for the 2022 season. And so our goal hasn't changed. Our focus hasn't changed. We want our guys playing a little ornery, having a little snarl in their face, and guys getting ready to get after it. So that's how we're going to play. And that's how we do it.
We're in conversation with Mark Washington, a defense coordinator, assistant head coach, the Hamilton Ticats here on Raw Mike Richard. It is a Ticat Tuesday, which means Hamilton also, the city itself. I mean, I was always excited. My grandparents lived in an area called Fruitland, and it was, an excitement to go there because everything to me was about those colors. And when the buses would come by, the buses were that colors. And I'm thinking, when you first come to the CFL, and you played at Rutgers, so there's always an association with the team that you're closest to. And for you growing up, it probably wasn't going to be the CFL. Like growing up for you was where's high school for you?
I grew up right outside of Washington, D.C. in Prince George's County, Maryland.
So you're thinking what then as a kid?
Back then I wanted to be a Washington Redskin.
Right.
What I mean? That was that's my team, and now they're the Commanders. And so I'm still a big Commanders fan. I'm a big Washington fan. I'm a Washingtonian true and true. And so that was my goal.
So when you come from that, so it's like, big hogs and, that kind of football that was real aggressive. I mean, real aggressive football. You go to Rutgers and then you go and you have a lot of time with the Alouettes and the BC Lions, and the coaching you would have got then was outstanding. I mean, you played under a lot of great coaches, a lot of great influence, I would say. So when you look back at where Mark Washington is here today preparing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, are there things you look back on? Are there coaches? Is there an influence that you can say, well, a lot of times I get in situations, I think of what I did here because of this coach. Who were those kinds of coaches for you?
Well, Man, the list of coaches that I had that have had an impact on me in the CFL, I mean, goes long. I mean, obviously you start with Wally, Wally Buono and Dave Ritchie, and they that Wally was my last coach, Dave was my first coach, right? Then all other influences like Don Matthews, and then more intimately with Rod Russ and Greg Butler. They were the guys who sort of shaped my thinking when it came to defense, and then being coached by like Mike Benevides. So all these guys have been influential in my development, and man, I've been blessed to come out of such a lineage that way.
Well, you know what? I think it's why, quite honestly, and a lot of those names that you mentioned, why we see a lot of ex-players stay in the league as coaches, because they got coached up when they came here.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you feel an affinity for the league, the fact that, you want the league to continue and you want it to be in good hands. And so therefore the best hands, if you're thinking that way, is we'll put it in your own hands and be able to coach the guys the way you've been coached, and then be able to add your own flavor to it. And for me, it was just an opportunity for me to continue to be in this league in some capacity. And I'm still here. I've been around for a long time.
Yeah, well, we hope it goes go longer. And as I said, you get ready for a week one in this league, and because of COVID, I mean, it affected everybody. It affected not just what you do physically, but as mentally, and I would say, and spiritually too. This was a time where I always think those are people who have faith. Boy, did you needed that over these last 2 years. And people said, I don't talk about it often. Usually the pinner comes on. We talk about that kind of stuff, right? I said, people are always kind of confused by when someone like myself that's considered to be just a degenerate, you're talking gambling, you do all these impressions. He said, but then you sit around and you'll talk about faith. I said, my dad's church organist. I was an altar boy. I have faith. And they're like, yeah, but that's the thing about faith. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, your life is pretty shallow. That's how I look at it. It's like, there's a strength that you get from that quite frankly, there's a reason why, you see athletes in action that have been around for a long time. If you get a chance to talk to some of these guys, you understand it's not so much about that they know scripture. It's not so much about that they're going to preach and witness to you every time, because there are guys who do that. That's up to them. But it's usually by example. And the guys who have faith, it's like why do you think they play with, like, it seems like they get a little help here. They get a little something extra. Well, it's because that's what it does. And I think, and it's times like this where sometimes it's interesting that players who have that, it kind of shows up in these moments.
Well, and that's the whole point of it. That's the understanding of it. I know what my source is. I know where my faith lies is in Jesus, and that doesn't change. He's my rock. He's my source of life. That's where I get everything from. And so when good and bad times come, when the hard times come, and it's coming. I mean, life doesn't devoid you of anything, and having faith doesn't devoid you of any type of difficult situation. But you do have that anchor, and it does give you hope, not only for now, but for the life to come. So,
and I like to think that the big guy wears Ticat colors. I'm just saying. I think there might be a little Oski Wee Wee somewhere in scripture. I don't know where. I'm gonna have to go through. I don't know what book would be in, but I'm sure Oski Wee Wee's in there.
Right. I tell you what, he's blessed the city in so many ways, and the fans here with this organization and the teams that we've had. I know he smiled down on the city.
Fantastic. Hey, Coach, best of luck. Thanks for joining us on our first Ticat Tuesday. It was great, as I knew it would be. I'm so excited for your team. I'm ready to get at it. My family is definitely ready for this opener. So best of luck, my friend, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to you again real soon.
Anytime, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
That is Mark Washington, defensive coordinator and assistant coach with your Hamilton Tiger Cats, as I mentioned, getting ready on the 11th to face the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You don't think they're ready? They've been talking about this for like months. And if you've been out to the Flatland, you know that this is just huge. Place is going to be sold out. So it's like closer to 40,000. Mosaic is a beautiful stadium. Like, I never thought that we would have in our league stadiums like we do. I mean, the one in Winnipeg's gorgeous. And of course, Tim Hortons redone. Now they'll be packed and loud. I think they're looking for a real good season. And considering there was a little scare, obviously, with labor, it didn't last that long. I didn't think it would be. Now you're ready to play football. So that's why I think it was a very interesting talk with with Mark. Did a great job.